Welcome Taurus to your January 2020 reading. Well guys, Happy New Year's to you all. May it be extraordinary, amazing and utterly wonderful. Guys, it's a very powerful year astrologically and a very powerful January. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction, these two big players have been dominating the kind of astrological scene for a while. This massive build-up to January. January the 7th, they come together. Followed very shortly by, afterwards, by a full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer on the 10th. Very powerful time of potential shifting in the energy then, guys. So we'll be very mindful of that as we proceed with the reading. I'm just going to put this away. This is the diary that I have produced that has a rundown every month of the sort of astrological stuff that's going on. So guys, first of all, actually, before I connect in with the angel, we have a white quartz angel here who's going to be kind of overseeing our reading. Just to say welcome. Welcome to those of you who are returning to my readings, who are following my readings, who are part of this community. We are becoming a community. We are becoming a community of spiritual warriors. We are people who care. We are people who are striving to navigate life through awareness. And to be honest, guys, you blow me away. You have been amazing, not only in your support of me, but I read it in your comments, in your support of one another too. So big respect and truly, truly so much heartfelt thanks. You guys are just inspirational. For anyone who is new to our amazing community, welcome. I'm Jenny Florence. Guys, I put a lot of resources into the world for free, so do check out the information box. I give a free private reading to one of my subscribers every month, and January is really special for me because I have created a set of cards which I've been using for a while. People have been asking about them, but January is the time when the very first edition will be launched. They are the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards. They may well be in the reading if we're drawn to use them or not. I just listen to what I hear. But guys, because it's a sort of a celebration of the launch, I will be giving away a few packs of those at the end of January to some of my subscribers, subscribers, here I go, along with the free private reading as always. So guys, I'm just going to slow down, connect into the energy of this incredible angel. White quartz purifies, it cleanses. Curiously enough, it also repels negative energy. It has a duality. It cleanses us really at a very pure and deep, in a very pure and deep kind of way. But it's working with us internally in terms of purification. And it also seems to create, I think, a sort of a boundary around us that repels any negativity. So if you are highly sensitive, if you are quite what I would call absorbent of the feelings, emotions of people around you, a lot of people are, they're highly empathic, very sensitive. And when they absorb, it's quite hard to know what belongs to them and what doesn't. I'm like that. I know I've had to really learn, it's a skill in a way, it's a tool, it's a gift in certain things. In my counselling work, it's a gift because I really tune in to how someone is when I sit with them. But actually, in the bigger world, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So it's something I've had to learn to manage. The energy of white quartz is really, really good for helping with that. So that's the energy of the angel that is with us for this reading. Let's draw some rules. Alright, you're getting 3 coming out straight away. Just see which is the first. So this is the first. Lovely. We have the rune of joy, followed by the rune of protection, followed by the rune of breakthrough. This is a magnificent. I don't know what's going on with my words today, guys. I was about to say a magnificent. Okay, this is a magnificent energy. So you guys have just taken a leap in some way. You've come through something. You're out the other side. This rune speaks of, out of darkness into light, renewed clarity, renewed energy for life. It speaks of being carried across the gap by the wings of heaven. I mean, it's a really wonderful energy. So it's as though something has come to a completion, you're out the other side. Protection. Very interesting energy, because protection suggests that you develop an aversion. This so tunes in with the energy of this angel. You develop an aversion to things that don't resonate with you. So for example, if you've been hanging out with people who maybe kind of aren't maybe quite as aware as you, or maybe they behave badly, and it used to just roll off you, it won't roll off you anymore. That's what this rune speaks of. It's kind of, we're losing our tolerance to things that aren't okay. We're not prepared to tolerate stuff anymore. We're not prepared to put up with things that maybe we used to sweep under the carpet or just turn a blind eye to. It's the kind of energy of protection. Breakthrough. Very powerful, very, very powerful rune. This rune speaks of a change in direction, a breakthrough, a light bulb moment. Sometimes literally it can be like a 180-degree turn. So for some people it's course correcting, change of direction, becoming aware of something that enables you to move forwards. I think you guys have come through something. Most of the Tauruses that I know have had a year. 2019 was a year of kind of pretty big life lessons, really, I would say. And I feel as though you've come out the other side. You've lain something to rest. That's what I'm hearing. You've put it behind you. And if anything, I think you've now, the learning from whatever it is you guys are putting behind you, the learning from it is that you would no longer put up with something that maybe previously you used to. That's been the learning curve. And it's kind of now putting you in a position of quite a breakthrough opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how the cards come through for us. We'll draw one more rune, actually. Yeah, it's this one. Gateway. Wonderful energy. The rune of gateway. Oh, do you know? Yeah, we're going to use the journey rune as well. The way that just presented itself, guys, you have to listen to the runes. Sometimes, honestly, they start to shuffle around all on their own in the middle of a reading. And, I'll have said, right, we're having 4 runes today, and suddenly halfway through, they shuffle around, and you think, oh, no, okay, we're going to just being given another. Very, very powerful energy. I've had these for a long, long time, since I was a teenager. The rune of gateway. This is incredible because I feel you have come through something. You are at this extraordinary turning point in some way, which is very powerful given the astrology, given that, all of the things that Saturn and Pluto coming together are, I guess, bringing energetically to humanity. We're being asked to restructure things within us that don't work anymore. Guys, you've come through something out the other side. The rune of gateway says, take a pause. Metaphorically, climb to the top of a high place and take a pause. Look back, look back at everything that has brought you to where you are today, everything that has contributed to where you are today. And I always feel this rune for me brings an invitation of appreciation. An invitation of gratitude for all of our learning curves, even the challenging ones. Now, once we have paused, reflected, we lean into the learning, we then step through the gateway. It's a terrific beginning for a new year, guys. Really, really extraordinary energy. Again, just connecting in with this angel, it's like you've cleansed, you've done the work. And now you repel anything that no longer resonates, things that maybe used to cling, or, sometimes if we've had challenging experiences, it's like something of that residue still attracts a little bit more of that, because we're needing to resolve something, we're needing to put it down. But I feel you guys have laid something to rest. You're ready to pause, honour your learning. That's what I'm really hearing. It's not just a pause and a reflection. You've kind of done that, but you know where you are. This is to do with appreciation and honouring your own achievements at having come through this. That's what I'm really hearing. I'm feeling that really deeply. It feels very profound. An acknowledgement, a self-recognition of how far you've come on your journey. Travel within. Now, the rune of journey, it more often than not means a journey within than a journey without, as it were, though sometimes it can mean travel, literally. I think in this reading, in its final position, for me, it's like it rubber stamps this process. You're ready for a new journey. You're ready for a new phase of growth, whether that is an internal space of growth or whether it is an external. Generally speaking, I'd say, guys, I think we know they go hand in hand. Very powerful lineup, guys. I have to say the energy here is quite electric, actually, for this reading. I'm loving it because when I do these readings, irrespective of whether I have a connection to a particular sign, I get to kind of bathe in the energy of it. It's really, this feels, I want to use the word revitalizing. That's what I feel like. It's re-energizing. I mean, what an amazing energy to be around you for the beginning of a new year, when we have eclipse season, when stuff can happen very quickly. And, you know, this coming together of Saturn and Pluto. Wow, guys. I'm going to draw from one of the tarot packs now. Ooh, cards leaping out. So we have the High Priestess. Now this suggests you are leaving something behind. You're evaluating, or you have evaluated, or there's still a process of evaluation. I think you've come through something, I really do. Maybe there's still just almost like the final aspects of evaluation in order to move forwards. But this is lovely. Trust your intuition. Heightened intuition, this speaks of. We have the Ten of Wands. Whatever has been weighing heavy. This is the evaluation of something. Something's been... This is a real paradox for me. I'm sitting here and what I'm hearing is, you see, in one way I think you've come through something and you have actually laid it to rest. And yet something of it is still connected to you. I think it's a choice. The High Priestess would suggest you're making a choice, but something is still lingering or bothering you or concerning you. I don't feel it has the power that it used to. You've come through something. You've been carried across that gap. But, you know, out of darkness into light. But you're still weighing something up here. Something is still lingering, something's still around you. I do feel it's around you by choice, which is different, as opposed to maybe before, whatever was around you was almost, I think you were on autopilot in the way that it had sort of attached or landed in your world in some way. Now you have a choice, but it's still there. There's something still around for you guys. Choices in relationship here. 9 of Cups. I don't know if this connects to this. This is lovely. The 9 of Cups says that, I mean, it's a celebration. It's an entering into a phase of relationships, a new phase, where you have your eyes wide open. It means you care about someone, or you can love people for who they are. You don't require them to be something they're not. That's the kind of energy of this card. There is a completion though, guys. Again, we have the World. Yes, something comes to some sort of completion. Guys, you either come through a phase in relationship that has been either weighing heavy or bothering you, or there's been a conflict in some way. You're moving through that. I think you yourself have the clarity. Now, you're either moving through it and you make decisions and choices, either the relationship basically ups its game and begins to align with what you need, or in some way it comes to a completion. That's kind of what's around. I don't know what aspect of relationship that would be. Could even be a relationship to something in yourself. There's not a clear indication of a person. So it could be some aspect of yourself that has been burdening you, some attitude or the lens through which you've been looking at something. That I do think for some of you it is it's connected to something that you've sort of processed and moved beyond, and yet there's still something lingering. I'm going to put these down and I'm going to draw from a different tarot pack. We have art, the card of creativity, a card of balance, a card of alignment, a card of getting centered, a card of looking at things from a creative perspective, being able to navigate whatever this is, guys, whatever the evaluation, whatever as I said, breakthrough, light bulb moments, stepping through the gateway, evaluating, whatever you are evaluating in terms of decisions and process. I think this card would suggest that you can embark upon that evaluation from a really centered, self-aware position. It's like mind, body, soul, the masculine and the feminine aspects of ourselves. Everything is kind of integrated. You can approach it from a position of what I would call creative thought, rather than the kind of, sometimes people think that they're very big thinkers. And they'll tell me they're a big thinker. When I sit down with them, I realise that they're not actually thinking as in processing. They're going over and over and over something. That's not thinking. That's like repetitive thought. Can you see what I mean by the difference? This card invites you to evaluate from a creative thinking process. It's like really get involved in proper evaluation, not in that repetitive cycle of thinking, because that can burden us. And in an ironic way, we can sort of almost create more of the same, because the energy is just repeating something of a situation that we've been in before. Again, and more evaluation. This card was amazing. It just literally flew out of the pack. Adjustment. The card of Libra, the card of balance. This card says, notice what knocks you off your balance, and also notice what allows you to rebalance. It's kind of a skill. It's like a life skill. If we notice what knocks us off balance, then we can begin to identify anything that we have an aversion to, kind of thing, really. If we can also notice, most importantly, what allows us to regain our balance, then we can actively and very consciously kind of rebalance, reground ourselves. If we are ever knocked off balance, it's like we know what to do. We develop that skill set. So it comes with a big kind of invitation. I'm going to say that could indicate as well any kind of internal thinking patterns where maybe, if you're an excessive worrier, okay? Worrying is, it's actually very focused thought. A prayer is a focused thought. When we set intentions, it's a focused thought. But worry is also a focused thought. And if you are a bit of a worrier, it's quite likely that you invest more energy into your worries than you do in your prayers and your intentions. And I think that's really important to notice, because if we can notice that, we can kind of create a shift. Again, the more we notice ourselves, the more we notice our internal thinking patterns, our internal dialogue, the more we can address anything that we ourselves contribute to kind of holding us back or keeping us in the same situation. But I do feel you guys have come through something. It's almost as though you are refinding your feet. That's what I'm really hearing. Something's still lingering, but I feel as though your connection to it is by choice rather than by default, which is marvellous. But I think you're realigning yourselves. I think that's what January is about. The breakthrough, the gateway, You're already heading into this breakthrough. I think you probably will, in your own unique individual ways, know what I'm talking about, whatever it is this is referring to for you. But January is offering you a time of, it's like standing on a position of centered self-awareness. You can actually begin to make very clear choices about how you wish to proceed and what you wish to embark on for a new phase in your life. Yeah, it's like re-establishing yourself in some way. Gorgeous energy. The 10 of Cups. I'm loving that this sits in this triangle with the 9 of Cups, decisions in relationships. This is like a commitment. It could be a commitment to yourselves in terms of not accepting less than you deserve, because you've been working at that entitlement and that deserving for quite a while. That's the Saturn-Pluto stuff. It could be that you are in a relationship and you've been able to hold your boundaries firm and it moves to a greater level of commitment. It could mean that you are looking for a new partnership and you now with clarity decide to put down anything from the past that may be, patterns in relationships where you're entering a new phase where you know what you're looking for and you're not prepared to accept less. This is the kind of flavour here. Choices though, and choices that lead to ongoing contentment and happiness. There is a completion. So whatever you've been journeying through, and I think you've processed it a lot, feels as though January for you guys is a shifting to a new space where something really, really is finally put down with awareness. That's the key. I always think that, we talk about forgiving and forgetting. I think forgiveness is a useful thing if we can maneuver ourselves into that space. And for me, forgiveness always involves being able to lean into the learning from the situation and appreciate that, because it helps me to come to terms with things if they weren't so great. However, I don't believe that forgetting is helpful. We shouldn't be carrying a grudge in any way. That's very unhelpful, and the only person that affects is us. It eats away at us. But if we forget, then we lose sight of the learning. Awareness means that we remember something, but it's no longer carrying an emotional charge for us. That's what kind of closure for me is about. Closure means we don't forget the past, but it no longer has any influence over it beyond us remembering that it happened and knowing that we grew from it. And there's a liberation in that kind of closure. I'm going to draw from one of the other tarot packs now. It's one that picks up on the dynamics of sort of the people energy, both in you and around you. I love this pack of cards. The imagery in them is stunning. I should also say, guys, that there is a page on my website now with all the cards that I use and the runes for anyone that's interested, or if they see a pack that they'd really like to connect in with for themselves. There are photos, so you should easily be able to access what you're looking for, and the link of course is in the information box below. Lovely, guys. We have the 4 of Earth. Too many cards leaping out here. Let's see what we can... Oh. We have 4 of Earth and 8 of Air. Just put these back. Sorry guys, I think I just knocked the camera there. But these are very tuned in with the runes. So the 4 of Earth... it's about commitment, it's about perseverance, it's a very earthy kind of working sort of phase. It speaks of reliability, stability. So there is something about the energy moving forwards with you guys. But it's curious because coming back to then, or moving over rather than back to, moving over to the 8 of Air, This is like lessons learned. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our experiences, we evaluate, and our evaluation brings us the learning, the gift of the learning that allows us to remain centered, even in the face of challenges, to move from, it's like creatively processing an experience so that we move through it, beyond it, and we become more than we were. We move to a space of stability, contentment. Guys, you are moving forwards into a phase of life that feels very rich. But what I hear is you're at the beginning of this new phase. You've come through something, you're just literally finally laying it to rest. To some extent you already have. I think you've laid it to rest, and it's now this sort of in-between space where you are consolidating the learning so that you are no longer kind of weighed down by any aspect of it. I mean, that's what frees you up to then move forwards to a new phase of life, a new phase of your journey. I'm going to draw from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards next. This is an interesting card, Lack. Leading a spiritual life does not mean living in lack. This card asks you to release any underlying beliefs that you may hold regarding entitlement and worthiness that may be blocking your ability to receive. When you have an abundance of wealth, both inner and outer, you will have an abundance to give and to share with others. It's really interesting because I think for some of you there's something around the entitlement within relationship, in connection to others, but you are being asked to release something. Now for some of you it may be in connection to your material wealth, to possessions and things, but for some of you I think it does connect to your entitlement to deserve, to be worthy, to be respected within relationship. That's what I'm really hearing, and this is coming to a completion. Whatever phase you've been going through, something is reaching that resolution. I think you're leaning into the learning. I'm going to say, guys, I think for some of you the learning has been a tough journey. Take your time. Lovely energy. Slow down. If you are feeling under pressure, whether in response to a situation or to the demands of another person or from pressure that you are placing on yourself, this card asks you to slow down and take time again to evaluate. Such a theme here before reaching a conclusion, making a decision or committing yourself. Process stuff, guys. This is a month of moving through something beyond it. It's like you come out of it whole at the other end. We have a card of collaborate. It says, sometimes we are called to develop our self-sufficiency, and this can be a valuable road to travel in the discovery of our unique and individual gifts. But this is not the same as trying to do everything yourself all of the time. This is not a time to go it alone. It is a time to unite and work with others. So there is a very clear message coming through here for some of you guys. If we are hurt, what happens is that we withdraw. And that can be really, really appropriate. I think retreat, withdrawal for recovery, for time alone, for reflection, for evaluation. I think it's one of the skills of the spiritual warrior. We need to know when to do that. It's part of self-care, conscious self-care. But there comes a time when that space of retreat where we sort of feel we daren't risk getting hurt again, retreat can suddenly become, rather than a place of healing, it becomes a defense. And we're not allowing ourselves to reach out and connect with others for fear of being hurt. It's kind of like, I often say to people, sometimes we put things in place to protect ourselves, and in the moment it's appropriate. But there's a time when they kind of reach their sell-by date, and we have to recognize that the very things we put in place to protect ourselves are actually becoming a hindrance, and they are actually stopping us from moving into the world. So really, really powerful card and really, really powerful message. It's time to reach out. I think that's part of the healing. Maybe the burden for some of you is that you've retreated. You have been burdened. You have been retreating, looking after yourselves, but it's time to kind of emerge again here. Again, keep yourselves centered. You have the right to maintain your own boundaries. Well, this is lovely energy, grace. This is about learning from our mistakes and learning from life, and holding an attitude, ultimately, I'm going to say, of love. It's why these cards, the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards, they're part of a series called the I Choose Love series. It's all about understanding how we can navigate life through the lens of love. Grace is an aspect of love. When we sit in relationship with grace, we see every situation through the eyes of love, fostering our desire to meet love with understanding, compassion, and kindness. This card asks that you view your situation with grace. Will understanding bring compassion? How would love view your possible choices? What would kindness suggest you do? Taurus, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus, Taurus rising, anyone cross-watching. There's an evaluation, there's a decision-making going on, and I think it involves really stepping into an entirely new phase of life, liberating yourselves from something of the past. Lean into the learning, look through the eyes of compassion, and that includes yourselves. Please remove any aspect of self-criticism that you may be carrying. Cleanse at the deepest possible level and allow yourselves to develop an aversion to things that knock you off balance, and notice the things that keep you in balance. Develop an aversion to things that don't resonate with you, and allow yourself the entitlement to make those choices. Take your time to make decisions, one step at a time. If we are lowering our defense mechanisms, it's really appropriate to take our time. But again, grace and collaboration. It's time to move beyond something, guys. That's what's really coming through here. And the energy is with you to do so. Guys, so much love. Thank you so much for listening to this reading, for joining me for this. It's a privilege to read for you guys. For those of you that are a part of this community, thank you. You are utterly inspirational, and anyone new, do please join us. This is an amazing community of spiritual warriors walking a pathway where we are striving to walk our journey, embark on our journey from a position of self-awareness, higher consciousness, in which we, to be honest, grace is the guiding light. So much love to you guys, so much love.